The first thing I noticed was not the shouting. It was the silence. A room full of 150 people had gone completely quiet as my little sister Lily stood in the middle of the wedding hall wearing a dress she had dreamed about since she was a child. The music had stopped. The photographers had lowered their cameras. Even the waiters carrying trays of champagne stood frozen. And my parents, they just sat there, watching, doing nothing. I remember gripping the edge of my chair so hard my fingers went numb. Because 5 minutes earlier, everyone believed this was going to be the happiest day of Lily's life. She was marrying Daniel Hart, the only son of one of the wealthiest families in the city. A family known for their businesses, their luxury homes, and their perfect public image. For months, everyone told Lily she was lucky. "You're going to have a beautiful life," my mother said. "You're marrying into a family that can give you everything," my father added. But I knew my sister. Lily never cared about expensive cars or giant houses. She cared about people. She volunteered at animal shelters. She remembered strangers' birthdays. She would give away her last dollar if someone needed help. And that was exactly why I was afraid. Because people like Lily often believe everyone has a good heart. Even when they don't. I should have warned her harder. I should have pushed her to see what I saw. But Lily was happy. And when my little sister was happy, I wanted to believe in that happiness too. Until that moment. Until Daniel's mother, Victoria Hart, walked onto the stage. She was wearing a designer dress worth more than most people's yearly salary. She smiled at the guests. A fake, polished smile. The kind people wear when they want to look powerful. "Before we continue," Victoria announced, holding up a folder. A few guests laughed nervously. Everyone assumed it was a wedding surprise. Maybe a speech. Maybe a gift. But then she looked directly at Lily. "I think there is one small matter we need to handle." Lily's smile disappeared. "Mrs. Hart." Victoria opened the folder. "This." She pulled out several pages. A prenuptial agreement. The room became uncomfortable. Daniel immediately looked embarrassed. "Mom, we talked about this." Victoria ignored him. "My son is entering a marriage that will connect two families. We need to protect what belongs to us." Lily looked confused. Today, her voice was soft. During the ceremony, Victoria tilted her head. "Why? Do you have something to hide?" That sentence hit the room like a weapon. I saw Lily's face change. Not anger, not tears, just disbelief. Because my sister could not understand how someone could be so cruel on a day meant for love. "I'm not asking for your family's money," Lily said quietly. Victoria smiled. "That's what everyone says." Daniel stepped forward. "Mom, stop." But Victoria raised her hand. And Daniel stopped. That was the moment I understood something. He wasn't controlling the situation. She was. Victoria looked back at Lily. "My son has built a future. A legacy. And I need to know you aren't here because of his name." The guests started whispering. Some looked away. Some looked at Lily with pity. Others looked entertained. And that was the part that hurt the most. Because people love watching someone else fall. Especially when the person falling is kind. I looked at my parents. My mother was staring at the floor. My father had his hands folded. Silent. Completely silent. I couldn't believe it. This was their daughter. Their little girl. The same Lily they protected when she was afraid of thunderstorms. The same Lily they carried when she fell off her bicycle. The same Lily who cried when she saw a homeless man outside a restaurant. And now, when she needed them most, they said nothing. I stood up. Enough. My voice cut through the room. Everyone turned. Victoria looked annoyed. "And you are?" I walked toward the stage. "I'm Lily's sister." She smiled. "Oh, the protective one." "Yes." I looked at Lily. She was trying to stay strong. Trying not to cry. And that made me even more determined. "Put the papers away." Victoria laughed. "Excuse me. You heard me. This is a family matter." I looked around the room. No, this became everyone's matter the second you humiliated her in front of everyone she loves. The room went silent again. Daniel looked at me, not angry, just ashamed, because he knew I was right. Victoria crossed her arms. You have no idea what you're talking about. Actually, I did, because unlike everyone else in that room, I had spent the last 3 weeks finding out exactly who the Hart family really was. And I wasn't there to fight. I wasn't there to scream. I wasn't there to ruin a wedding. I was there because I had discovered something. Something Victoria didn't know. Something Daniel didn't know. Something my parents definitely didn't know. I looked at the folder in her hands. Then I smiled, because the truth was already sitting in my bag. A single document, one public record, one piece of information that would change everything. Mrs. Hart, I said. Her expression hardened. What? I think before you ask Lily to sign anything. I opened my bag. You should explain something first. The room watched as I pulled out a file. Victoria's confident smile slowly disappeared. What is that? I placed the document on the table. Something you forgot. She stared at it. Then her face went pale. Because she recognized the name. Her name. And for the first time that day, Victoria Hart looked afraid. My father finally lifted his head. My mother looked shocked. Lily looked at me. What is this? I held her hand, and whispered, the truth. Because my sister didn't need revenge. She didn't need to destroy anyone. She just needed someone brave enough to stand beside her. And I was finally ready to do that. Even if it meant exposing the family everyone thought was perfect. The room felt smaller than it had a few seconds ago. Everyone was staring at the document in my hand. But nobody was more nervous than Victoria Hart. The woman who had walked into the wedding hall like she owned the place. The woman who had embarrassed my sister in front of everyone. The woman who believed money and reputation could control every person in the room. Now she looked like someone who had just realized the rules had changed. Where did you get that? Victoria asked. Her voice was different. The confidence was gone. I looked at Lily. She was still standing there, still wearing the wedding dress she had chosen months ago. But she wasn't the same person who had been standing there 10 minutes earlier. Something had changed. She had seen the truth about people she trusted. I did what nobody else bothered to do, I said. I checked. Victoria's eyes narrowed. You had no right to investigate my family. I almost laughed. No right. I looked around the room. Your family just publicly questioned my sister's character, her intentions, and her worth. I pointed at the papers she was holding. You brought a legal document into a wedding ceremony to protect yourself from a woman who has never asked you for anything. The guests whispered. Victoria looked uncomfortable, but she wasn't the only one. I looked at Daniel. He had been quiet for too long. Daniel. He looked at me. Did you know about this? His silence answered before his words did. Lily's face fell. Daniel. He swallowed. I knew Mom wanted a prenup. Lily stared at him. And you didn't tell me. I was going to. When? His eyes dropped. I thought. After the wedding. The pain on my sister's face was worse than any anger. Because betrayal hurts differently when it comes from someone you love. You thought I would have no choice after today? Lily asked. No. Daniel stepped forward. That's not what I meant. But Lily moved back. For the first time, she looked at him like she didn't know him. And maybe she didn't. Because love is not just promises. It's honesty. I turned back to Victoria. Tell everyone what's in this document. She didn't answer. Tell them. Her jaw tightened. This is private. I smiled. Interesting. I tapped the paper. Because you didn't seem to care about privacy when you put Lily on display. A few guests looked away. They knew. Everyone knew. Victoria had crossed a line. Finally, she said, this proves nothing. I looked at Lily. Then I looked at her. You're right. The room waited. It proves nothing about Lily. I paused. but it proves a lot about you." Victoria's expression changed, because she knew exactly what I had found. 3 weeks earlier, I had received a strange email. No name, no explanation, just one message. "If your sister marries Daniel Hart, she deserves to know what she's walking into." Attached was a public record. At first, I thought it was fake. The Hart family was famous for being untouchable, perfect, successful, respected. But when I checked the records myself, I found something hidden. Years ago, Victoria Hart had created a company that appeared successful from the outside. But behind the scenes, there were lawsuits, debt, and financial problems she had spent years hiding. The Hart family fortune wasn't as secure as everyone believed. And that wasn't even the worst part. Because Daniel wasn't the only heir, there was another name connected to the company. A name that nobody talked about. A daughter, Victoria's first child, a woman named Emily. The room went silent when I said it. Emily Hart. Victoria froze. Daniel looked confused. Who is Emily? That question destroyed everything. Because Daniel didn't know, his own mother had hidden a sister from him. The guest started whispering louder. Victoria's face turned red. "Stop." But I continued. "Emily Hart was removed from the family records after a disagreement with you." Daniel stared at his mother. "Mom." Victoria looked at him. "Don't listen to her. Is it true?" Her silence was enough. Daniel stepped back. "You lied to me." Victoria's voice softened. "I protected you." "No." Daniel shook his head. "You controlled everything." That was the first time anyone had challenged her. And it wasn't me. It was her son. My sister looked at Daniel. And I could see the heartbreak in her eyes. Because she had spent months believing she was joining a family. But she was discovering she was marrying into a world built on secrets. My father finally stood up. Everyone looked at him, including me, because I wanted to hear what he had to say. He cleared his throat. "Maybe this should stop." I stared at him. "Now." He looked uncomfortable. "Your sister's wedding is falling apart." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My sister's wedding started falling apart when nobody defended her. My mother started crying. "Please don't fight." I looked at her. "You watched her get humiliated." She looked down. "We didn't want to make things worse." I nodded slowly. That sentence explained everything. My parents weren't cruel. They were afraid. They cared more about avoiding conflict than protecting their own child. And sometimes, silence hurts more than words. Lily wiped a tear from her face. Then she did something nobody expected. She walked toward Victoria. Everyone held their breath. But Lily didn't yell. She didn't insult her. She simply handed the prenup back. "I won't sign this." Victoria looked surprised. Lily continued. "Not because I'm angry. Not because I want your money. But because I refuse to begin my marriage by accepting disrespect." Daniel looked at her. "Lily." She looked at him. "I need to know something." He nodded. "Anything. Were you going to tell me about your sister?" Daniel looked away, and that answer was enough. Lily closed her eyes. Then she removed her wedding ring. Not dramatically, not angrily, just quietly. She placed it in Daniel's hand. "I hope one day you become brave enough to choose your own life." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. Because he knew he had lost something good. Not because of a prenup. Not because of money. Because he stayed silent. Lily turned around and walked toward me. I held her hand. As we walked out of that wedding hall, everyone watched. The same people who had watched her humiliation now watched her leave with dignity. But the story wasn't over. Because outside that building, my phone started ringing. Unknown number. I answered. A woman's voice spoke. "Are you Lily's sister?" "Yes." "Who is this?" There was a pause. Then she said, "My name is Emily Hart." I froze. The woman Victoria erased from her own family. The woman nobody knew existed. And then Emily said, "You need to know the real reason your sister was targeted today." My heart stopped. What reason? Her voice became quiet. Because your sister found something that Victoria has been hiding for years. I looked at Lily, she looked back at me. And suddenly, the wedding disaster was only the beginning. The parking lot was almost empty. The wedding hall behind us was still glowing with expensive lights and decorations. A place that was supposed to hold my sister's happiest memory had become the place where everything fell apart. Lily stood beside me, still wearing her wedding dress. But the sadness in her eyes wasn't because she lost a wedding. It was because she finally saw the truth. The person she trusted most had hidden things from her. And the family she hoped would accept her had tried to break her. I looked at my phone. Emily Hart was still waiting. "Tell me," I said. There was silence on the other end. Then the woman spoke. Victoria didn't choose Lily randomly. My grip tightened. What does that mean? Emily took a breath. Your sister found something. I looked at Lily. What did she find? Emily lowered her voice. Before I explain, I need to ask you something. What? Do you trust Lily? The question surprised me. Of course I do. Then believe her when she tells you she never wanted the Hart family's money. I frowned. What are you talking about? Emily continued. Because that's the lie Victoria has been telling everyone. I looked at my sister. Lily was confused too. Lily didn't know anything about money, I said. Emily went quiet. Then she said, actually, she did. I turned to Lily. She looked shocked. Me. Emily spoke again. Lily found the old documents. The world seemed to pause. What documents? The company records. The ones showing Victoria's business wasn't built the way everyone thinks. I remembered the file, the lawsuits, the hidden debts, the missing information, but I didn't understand. Why would Lily look into that? Emily answered, because she was trying to help. Those words hurt, because they sounded exactly like my sister. Always helping, always caring, Emily explained. Months ago, Lily noticed something strange. Daniel's family business had problems, but everyone pretended everything was perfect. She asked questions, and Victoria didn't like that. Lily finally spoke. I didn't know. I turned to her. You did. She looked down. I didn't know everything. Her voice shook. But I saw some financial reports while helping Daniel organize documents. She wiped her eyes. I thought they were mistakes. Then I found more. I listened carefully. What did you find? Lily hesitated. I found that someone was moving money out of the company. Emily answered before Lily could. Victoria. The word felt heavy. No, I said. Not directly. Emily corrected herself. She used Daniel's name. Lily looked at her. What? Emily continued. Victoria created accounts and agreements using Daniel's future inheritance as protection. She was trying to hide the company's problems. I finally understood. The prenup wasn't about protecting Daniel. It was about protecting Victoria. She wanted Lily to sign something that would prevent her from ever questioning the family's finances. And when Lily refused, she tried to destroy her reputation. She planned this, I whispered. Emily didn't deny it. Yes, she knew Lily would never sign after being embarrassed. She wanted Lily to look emotional, unreasonable, and greedy. I felt anger rising, but Lily surprised me. She just stood there quietly, thinking. Then she said, she wanted everyone to believe I was the problem. Emily replied, exactly. For a moment nobody spoke. Then my phone buzzed. A message. From my father. Come home. We need to talk. I showed Lily. She looked at me. Do you want to go? I nodded. We need answers. When we arrived home, my parents were sitting in the living room. My mother had been crying. My father looked exhausted. Nobody spoke at first. Then my father said, I owe you both an apology. I crossed my arms. An apology won't erase what happened. I know. His voice was quiet. I was wrong. That surprised me, because my father was not someone who admitted mistakes. I saw what Victoria was doing, he said. Lily looked at him. You knew. He closed his eyes. I knew she was going to bring up the prenup. My sister's face fell. And you didn't warn me. My father looked ashamed. I thought it would be handled privately. I couldn't believe it. You thought letting her embarrass Lily was better than causing a scene. He looked at the floor. I was afraid. My mother finally spoke. Your father was worried about losing connections. Lily stared at them. Connections. Her voice cracked. I'm your daughter. That sentence broke my mother. She started crying. You're right. She looked at Lily. We failed you today. For the first time all night. Nobody defended themselves. Nobody made excuses. They admitted it. But forgiveness wasn't automatic. Because some wounds don't disappear just because someone says sorry. Then the doorbell rang. Everyone looked toward the entrance. My father stood up. A moment later, he returned. With a woman behind him. A woman in her 30s. She looked nervous. But familiar. Emily Hart. Lily stood up. You came. Emily nodded. I had to. She looked around the room. I spent years trying to expose what Victoria did. My father looked confused. What exactly happened? Emily sat down. And what she said next changed everything. Daniel's father didn't leave the family business to Victoria. Everyone froze. He left it to both his children. Emily looked at Lily. But Victoria removed me. The room went silent. She forged documents. My heart stopped. Are you saying she stole from you? Emily nodded. Yes. And she needed Daniel to marry someone who wouldn't question her. She looked at Lily. But Lily did. The room was completely quiet. Because suddenly everything made sense. Victoria didn't hate Lily because she was poor. She didn't hate Lily because she wasn't good enough. She hated Lily because she was honest. And honesty was dangerous to people who built their lives on lies. My phone rang again. This time, it was Daniel. I answered. His voice was broken. Can I talk to Lily? I looked at my sister. She thought for a long moment. Then she nodded. I put the phone on speaker. Daniel spoke. Lily, I know I don't deserve another chance. Nobody said anything. I found out what my mother did. His voice shook. And I finally understand. Lily stayed quiet. Daniel continued. I spent my whole life believing my family was perfect. A pause. But I was wrong. Then he said the one thing nobody expected. I want to help you expose her. Everyone looked at each other. Because now the battle had changed. This wasn't about a wedding anymore. It was about the truth. And Victoria Hart had no idea that her own son was about to stand against her. For a few seconds after Daniel said those words, nobody spoke. The room was filled with the kind of silence that comes after a storm. Not the painful silence from the wedding hall. A different kind. A silence where everyone was finally facing the truth. My sister Lily looked at the phone. Daniel, I'm here. Why should I believe you now? That question hurt him. I could hear it in his breathing. But he didn't argue. He didn't make excuses. And that was the first honest thing he had done all day. You shouldn't believe me just because I say it, Daniel answered. You should watch what I do next. Lily looked at me, then at Emily, then she spoke. Okay. Daniel let out a small breath. Okay, show me the truth. The next morning, we met Emily at a small coffee shop away from the city. No reporters, no guests, no wedding decorations, just 5 people sitting at a table. Lily, me, Daniel, Emily, and my parents. For the first time, everyone was there without pretending. Emily placed a folder on the table. These are copies of the original company records. Daniel looked through them. His face changed with every page. I can't believe this. Emily looked at him. That's how Victoria survived for so long. She made everyone believe she was protecting the family. She made everyone afraid of losing everything. My father looked at the documents. How do we prove this? Emily answered. We don't fight with rumors. She tapped the papers. We use facts. That was the difference. No revenge. No screaming. No destruction, just truth. 3 days later, Victoria Hart called a family meeting. She thought she was going to control the story. She invited relatives, business partners, people who cared about the Hart name. She planned to tell them Lily was unstable, that the wedding ended because Lily refused to respect the family. But she didn't know Daniel had already made his decision. When Victoria entered the room, she smiled. "There you are." She looked at Daniel. "I'm glad you came to your senses." Daniel didn't smile. "Mom." Her expression changed. "What?" "I need to talk." She laughed softly. "About what?" "The truth." The room became quiet. Victoria looked around. "What is this?" Daniel placed a folder on the table. The original company documents. Her face changed. Only for a second, but everyone noticed. "Where did you get those?" Emily stepped forward. "From the person you tried to erase." Victoria froze. "Emily." Her voice was almost a whisper. After years of pretending Emily didn't exist, she finally had to look at her. Emily said, "You spent years telling everyone I abandoned the family. But you removed me. You changed records. You lied." Victoria shook her head. "You don't understand." "No," Daniel said. "We understand now." That hurt her more than anything. Because she wasn't losing money. She was losing control. Victoria looked at Lily, and for a moment, I thought she might apologize. But some people don't know how to admit they are wrong. Instead, she said, "This girl ruined everything." I stepped forward. "No." Everyone looked at me. "She didn't ruin anything." I pointed at the documents. She revealed what was already broken. Lily stood beside me, calm, strong, the same quiet person she had always been. But now she knew her own worth. Victoria looked at her. "I gave you a chance to be part of this family." Lily shook her head. "No." Her voice was gentle. "You gave me a test to see if I would accept disrespect." Nobody spoke. Lily continued. "I wanted a family. I wanted love. I wanted a future." She looked at Daniel. "But I will never trade my dignity for any of those things." Daniel lowered his head, because he knew she was right. The investigation that followed took months. The truth came out slowly. Not through drama, not through revenge, through evidence. Victoria lost control of the company. Emily received what she was legally owed. The people who once praised the Hart family finally saw the reality behind the perfect image. And Daniel spent a long time rebuilding his life. Not trying to win Lily back. Not begging. Just becoming someone better. Because he finally understood. A person is not defined by the family they come from. They are defined by the choices they make. 6 months later, Lily opened a small community center. A place that helped young women learn financial skills and protect themselves. She named it after something simple. Second chances. I asked her why. She smiled. Because everyone deserves one. I laughed. Even people who hurt you. She thought for a moment. Maybe. Then she looked at me. But a second chance doesn't mean forgetting what happened. That was Lily, always kind, but no longer willing to be silent. My parents changed too. They apologized many times. And slowly, they proved they meant it. My father once told me, I thought staying quiet would keep peace. I asked him, did it? He looked at Lily. No, silence didn't protect anyone. A year after the wedding that never happened, Lily received a letter. From Daniel. She opened it quietly. I didn't ask what it said. But later she smiled, not because she wanted to go back. Because she had finally accepted the past. Sometimes people enter your life to stay. Sometimes they enter your life to teach you something. And sometimes, they reveal exactly how strong you really are. The world thought Lily lost everything that day. Her wedding, her future, her place in a powerful family. But they were wrong, because she walked away with something more valuable. Her self-respect. And that was something no one could ever take from her.